Anand Sinha. He is the chair of the standing committee, the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance, that is right now looking into allegations of anti-competitive practices by big tech. What exactly are the issues that this committee is taking up? What could be the outcome on the competition law of this country? We're talking about all of that with him, so stay tuned for that interview. So all of that lined up for you, but first, let me take you through what's trending tonight. DGCA orders SpiceJet to reduce flights by half for the next 8 weeks, cites poor internal safety but acknowledges SpiceJet is working to fix issues. SpiceJet says its flight schedule will not be affected. All eyes on the outcome of the ongoing FOMC meet later tonight, as the world's foremost central bank is expected to sound a hawkish tone once again in its fight against inflation. Interest rates could be raised by 75 basis points, but 100 bips is also not off the table. More importantly, the Fed's commentary on growth and inflation will be key to watch. Big setback for politicians facing money laundering allegations. Supreme Court says PMLA is not arbitrary and it's enough for the ED to disclose reasons at the time of arrest. They don't have to furnish an ECIR. Dozens of petitioners had approached the court accusing ED of arbitrary raids and arrest. Union Cabinet announces a massive 1.6 lakh crore package to revive BSNL, aims to de-stress its balance sheet and improve its services. Centre issues new guidelines for monkeypox patients, asks patients to isolate for 21 days, also to follow hand hygiene measures and wear face masks. Those infected with lesions are asked to keep them covered at all times. All right, the big story at this hour. Amidst repeated reports of issues with SpiceJet flights, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation has cut the airline's flights by 50% for the next 8 weeks. The aviation regulator has highlighted internal safety issues and inadequate maintenance action. SpiceJet has claimed the order won't impact flight schedules. My colleague Samir Dikshit joins us with all the details.
Yes, definitely. This is a big blow to SpiceJet airline because we have seen that there was an audit that was going on for SpiceJet airline, and as per the entire procedure, if you see, on 5th of July, SpiceJet was given a show cause notice by the aviation regulator DGCA, and then SpiceJet was asked to reply, and the reply was given on 25th of July. And seeking that reply, the aviation regulator, after getting all the audit done, it has ordered that for next 8 weeks, only 50% of departure is allowed to be operated for SpiceJet airline. And not just this, the entire operations will be under enhanced surveillance. But yes, as per order, we definitely see that this is going to be a big blow for the airline. But the airline says, as per the official statement, they say that they are not going to have much impact on the operations because these 3 months are the month where the any airline, whether it be SpiceJet or any other airline, they have a curtailed flight operations. Not much of flights usually take off, and because of the curtailed flight operations, there won't be having a much impact on flight operations. There won't be having much problem to the passenger or even those who have done advanced booking. But yes, there is a strict order that has been given by the aviation regulator, which will definitely have some impact on the airline, and this is not good for their image as well.
All right, so like we said, SpiceJet has said it's not going to make any great difference. Jitendra Bhargava, former Air India Executive Director, with us on the show. Captain Sanjay Karve, Accountable Manager, Chief Pilot, Govt of Maharashtra, joining us on the show as well. Welcome to both of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us today. Captain Karve, let me begin with your take on the DGCA action. Is it safe to say it's unprecedented to ground half the flights of an airline?
Absolutely. This has never happened in Indian aviation history. In fact, the show cause notice which was issued by DGCA and the answer given by SpiceJet. Now, if you look at the wording of the notice which DGCA has issued today, it is acknowledgement of the fact that SpiceJet has initiated some action, but it has cautioned that these actions are not sufficient or good enough for them to allow to continue. And I don't agree with the SpiceJet contention that they are operating curtailed flights. If you recollect, every 6 months, all airlines filed a flight schedule. And the existing summer schedule is till 29th of October, where the SpiceJet has been permitted 4,000 flights a week. So it has been curtailed to 2,000 flights. To my mind, what flights is SpiceJet going to cut down? Is it going to be Mumbai, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Mumbai, Calcutta, or the tier 2 and tier 3 cities which are under UDAN? Both ways, they are going to lose money. As it is, SpiceJet is not in a very good financial health by their own admission. Their share prices are dropping. Their passenger revenue is dropping. And this is a big blow for generating revenue for SpiceJet, especially when they are already on cash and carry basis.
Karve, I just want to understand one point. You talked about which flights they will curtail. If the concerns are about safety procedures, shouldn't it be specific flights that we're talking about or specific aircraft that we're talking about?
Not really. What DGCA said is there are internal safety issues within the organization.
Okay.
DGCA has not pointed out that you're not maintaining the Q400 or the 737 properly.
No, I'm just trying to understand how cutting their flights to 50% is going to help. Is it acknowledging that they don't have enough staff to maintain safety properly?
This is the crux of the matter. What has happened is during the COVID, most of these low-cost airlines sack people or send people home without pay, without leave or extended leave. Then they suddenly realized when the sky started opening up that they could manage. Now that when the aviation is coming back to practically the old strength, pre-COVID strength, they are running short of staff. And some of the airlines are reluctant taking in more staff. They hope that it is much more with much less, which in aviation doesn't work. You can't have much more with much less. You require qualified, competent, and enough number of staff to man the aircraft, to maintain the aircraft, and look after the ground services.
Jitendra Bhargava, I just want to get your perspective of what we're seeing right now. And at this point, it's about SpiceJet. But the fact is that we've been seeing complaints across industry. Should we be looking at the DGCA directive today in that context, that there is a deeper malaise ailing Indian aviation right now?
So this is not something new. I've been highlighting it, and many of the media people in the program, this has been brought out, that India is a price-sensitive market. Airlines have been garnering market share at the expense of profitability. 3/4 of the airlines that have come up since 1992, when the skies were opened up, are no longer in existence. Good carriers like Kingfisher, Jet Airways have not been able to survive in the market. Vistara from the House of Tata and Singapore Airlines has not been able to make profit for a single quarter since inception. That's the reality. But when you look at the low-cost airlines, which command 83% of the total market now, SpiceJet has been in a problem. They have the highest load factor, which means they fill up more seats on an aircraft than any other airline in India. But yet the finances have been pathetic. And when you keep charging fares which are far below the cost of producing a seat, a time comes when you really have to cut corners, and SpiceJet has been forced into it. Let me put this DGCA order in perspective. First thing first, this is an unprecedented thing, as you said, and therefore DGCA deserves to be complimented. They have taken action before things worsen. That's the first part. The second part is that the SpiceJet is right that it's not going to create a market upheaval tomorrow or lead to large-scale cancellations. DGCA had approved the summer schedule of SpiceJet with about 4,000 plus flights. Total, all the airlines put together are currently operating 2,100, 2,200 flights a day. SpiceJet is operating about 300 flights a day. So when you divide 4,000 by 7, because it's 4,000 flights a week, you come to about a figure of 300 flights, and that is what they're operating. Now, what DGC has perhaps done is, during the course of the audit, they've gone through it and said, how many aircraft maintenance engineers does SpiceJet have, who are not to be overworked, and therefore, this is the number of flights they will be allowed to operate. We all know that SpiceJet is going through a difficult time financially. Many of the vendors are on cash and carry basis. They don't get the spare parts in time. So it is all leading to compromises as far as flying operations are concerned. So DGCA has done a mathematical calculation, in my opinion, that these are the number of engineers, these are the spare part that they may be having a promise, the money that
So
they
which
have,
are these
or they can
50%
cannibalize
flights
it.
which are being grounded, Mr. Bhargav? If it's making no difference and they'll continue doing about 300 flights a day, so what's being grounded?
So that's what I'm saying. So there is nothing there. All that they're going to do is, when they said enhanced surveillance, is basically saying that you can't overuse or extend working hours of aircraft maintenance engineers, or you try and operate more flights. You see, what we are going through at the moment is a temporary phenomenon. Because of the high ATF prices, the fares are high. A large segment of the population, of the air travelers, are staying away from flying. So you don't need that many flights. But you can't guarantee the same thing for 1 month from now. That is why DGCA has put in 8 weeks' time and said, put your house in order, get the requisite manpower, ensure that the standard operating procedures
No,
are
I just want to
maintained.
make a point, Mr. Bhargav, on what you said earlier. You seem to suggest this is not the fault of the airlines. It's somehow the fault of the passengers who don't want to pay more. And then
No, please.
Then you go on to say that right now, because the fares are high, passengers are not coming. My point simply being,
right. Yes,
my point simply
reason
being,
for
let me
it.
just complete the point, sir. My point simply being that no matter how tough times are, and if you have to cut corners, then, you cut your fringes. How can safety be a corner that you can cut in aviation?
Tamanna,
I agree, you don't give
strength.
people meals, you
hold it,
charge
hold it,
for
hold it.
aisle seat, you charge for anything more than a small bag. All of that is already happening. How can you cut corners on safety, sir?
Nobody is cutting corners. What I'm trying to put across is they don't have requisite manpower with them at the moment. And as was very rightly stated by the earlier panelist, during the COVID time, when they laid off staff, many of them have gone away and many of them have moved to another airline where they found job opportunities. So when you do not have the requisite manpower for a certain number of aircraft, why should you be operating that many aircraft? So SpiceJet should have taken a decision on its own rather than make DGCA intervene and said, look, you're not going to operate more than 50% of your approved flights because you don't have the requisite manpower, you don't have the requisite spare parts for those flights to be operated. But what I said in passing was that all airlines in India, not just SpiceJet, are in a difficult financial state. And as long as they keep offering seed below the cost of producing a seed, the things will continue. And I gave the example deliberately of carriers like Jet Airways, Kingfisher, good product quality. Vistara, run by Tatas and Singapore Airlines with high efficiency level, yet not being able to be profitable at all, not having reported. So once you sustain losses over a period of time, what do you do to the airline? Either shut it down, operate it. Now, DGCA, that is where I said complimentary DGCA, it's a timely intervention. They put SpiceJet on notice. You can't run your own ambitions. You have to take safety into consideration. And this is what you can do as of now. We will look at it. We will enhance surveillance on you. And if we find that you are not still putting your house in order, we will come on you still heavily.
Captain Karve, sure. Captain Karve, implications for other airlines and the industry as a whole. As I started by saying that the inherent issues are not just limited to SpiceJet, isn't it? We've been talking about this for weeks now, that there isn't enough manpower to man the number of flights efficiently. Is that just a SpiceJet problem? And what are the larger implications that the DGCA order has?
No, this is a problem common with all the airlines post-COVID. Like Mr. Bhargava rightly pointed out, the fares, if you look at them, are abnormally low. In a city like Mumbai, Delhi or Chennai, if you want to travel from one corner of the city to other corner of the city, you will shell out 600 to 700 rupees hiring a Ola or Uber. And these airlines are offering a seat at 999 rupees. Beats me how they can make profit, irrespective of cutting corners. You cannot make profit by selling a seat at 999 rupees, even if you charge for tea, coffee, center seat, middle seat, aisle seat. ATF prices are phenomenally high. The taxes are extremely high. The problem is every airline wants to cut the other airline and get more seats per sector, which is really not a practical solution. They don't want to get into extra manpower. Today, some of the airlines are hiring technicians at 18,000 rupees a month. A roadside mechanic earns more money than that. And these are the people who are overworked and maintaining aircraft and you got 130 people sitting in that aircraft. But everyone is happy. Like Mr. Bhargava said, as long as nothing goes wrong, everyone is very happy about it. No one is purposely cutting safety. No one is compromising safety. But unfortunately, everyone is into that race to gain that number one spot. Oh, I am the number one carrier in India. I am the number two carrier in India by number of or volume of passengers carried. And I will do whatever it needs to be done. But at what cost? Do you have the infrastructure to do that? Unfortunately, none of the airlines today have that basic infrastructure. You see pilots complaining, cabin crew complaining, FDTL being shot practically every second or third day. The technicians working overtime, working 12 to 14 hours. Now, these are all highly skilled jobs. 1% of attention diversion can lead to a major catastrophe. Now, this is something all the airlines management have to take a serious look at it. If you cannot handle 100 flights a day, please cut down to 50. There's no need. Because DGCA has approved 100 flights, doesn't mean that you need to fly 100 flights a day.
So again, like I said, this doesn't seem to be an issue with passengers. Passengers will take the best deal that they're given.
Absolutely.
It has to be the airlines who have to ensure that everything is running and functioning smoothly. That's the basic denominator you cannot compromise with.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. In fact, if you look at DGCA, people complained that DGCA had laid down a cap of maximum fare. No one wants to talk that DGCA had also laid down a cap of minimum fare. DGCA had said you cannot charge below this. As a regulator, they are aware what is the bare minimum cost. Now, if the airlines are trying to cut corners on that, can you really hold the regulator responsible? No. I think the regulator has done a wonderful job, especially particular last year and a half. And it is totally for passenger safety.
Well, passengers should be aware of what's happening and hopefully the situation will be fixed very, very quickly. Thank you so much, Captain and Mr. Bhargava, for joining us today. Now, second day of the 5G spectrum auctions ended today, but there will be another day of bidding. 9 rounds were held today. The bidding process will continue tomorrow. Speaking to ET Now, Union Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnav says that telecom is now a sunrise industry and the spectrum auctions are seeing good participation. Already bids over 1.49 lakh crore rupees have come in, according to reports. Listen in to what the minister said.
Second day of 5G auctions, what is your expectation? Has it exceeded the government's expectations?
The entire telecom industry